Hey, welcome back to the channel, everybody. I hope you had a great weekend, and I hope you're doing well. So go ahead, drop a like, subscribe if you haven't already. It's a perfect way to help out this channel. But if you're looking for a better way to help out the channel, go ahead and check out the link in the description. Check out my merchandise, get yourself a t-shirt or a hoodie. I guarantee you'll be looking your best this holiday. But with all that out of the way, guys, let's see what we got today. We are live.
The ether was once thought to be the fifth element, filling the cosmos and permeating all things. Modern science discarded it, but in esoteric traditions, ether remains the invisible matrix in which all energy and matter exists. It is beyond physical form, yet provides the substance from which form arises. To contemplate the ether is to touch the invisible fabric of reality, where all boundaries dissolve.
Okay, well, we're off and running.
Did you know that Dmitri Mendeleev, the original creator of the periodic table of elements, originally intended for Aether to be included in the table? In fact, before the dominance of the irrational world of quantum mechanics, Aether theory was believed by the most brilliant scientists of all time, including Isaac Newton, Nikola Tesla, James Clerk Maxwell, and Sir William Crookes. According to these great minds, Aether was an all-pervading medium through which light and other electromagnetic waves could propagate. It was envisioned as a medium that fills the vacuum of space, providing a substance through which light and other waves could travel. Aether theory portrayed the universe as a harmonious cosmic symphony. Contrast this with the seemingly dissonant cacophony of quantum theory, which presents a cold and meaningless chaotic universe. Is it possible that physicists were too quick to disregard Aether theory and simply replaced it with terms like dark matter?
The world is not what you have been told. We once had access to free energy, and they've been lying to us ever since. There is significant evidence showing that Nikola Tesla was on course to changing our universe forever. In the early 1900s, Tesla developed a technology called the Wardenclyffe Tower. This was more than just a transmission tower. Tesla designed it so it was able to wirelessly transmit electricity across the globe by harnessing the Earth's natural energy. He was able to power his home and devices without a single wire. But here is where it gets dark. Tesla's invention threatened powerful individuals who controlled the energy market. J.P. Morgan, who initially funded Tesla, pulled the plug on the project when he realized that free energy couldn't be metered or monetized. But it gets even stranger. Tesla's lab mysteriously burnt down, and many of his notes and prototypes disappeared. Tesla's discoveries went beyond just wireless electricity. He hinted at tapping into what he called radiant energy, a limitless source of power derived from the very fabric of space itself, similar to what modern scientists refer to as zero-point energy. Many say that this is also how the Tartarians were able to pull off so many of their technological and architectural feats. Do you think this tower is still in use today?
I've seen the one in Texas.
Well, the Earth has a certain amount of electricity and magnetism, naturally. Everything vibrates, everything has resonance, everything has vibration. But the fact that we call it Earth, we don't see it vibrate. We don't see ourselves vibrate. If we could see ourselves vibrate, we'd really get a shock. Because we're now at the atomic, subatomic level. And that means that the ether, which is everywhere in the universe, vibrates and has energy. That's why everybody is looking to tap into the ether to get free energy. 0 point. There is enough energy in this cup here that you could boil more than half of all the oceans in the world. That's how much energy in this cup here. But we can't tap into it. Well, yeah, there are people who have tapped into it. That's all hush-hush.
Interesting.
What do you think is happening? Comment your thoughts.
我三亮，我三亮耶！埋伏来了，打不服啊，打不呢。
You're looking at a plasma discharge coming from an ancient spire somewhere in Asia. While you are looking at this, I want you to ask yourself, is it possible there was something much more going on with the ancient cathedrals and religious structures surrounding the planet? Were these incredibly complex and intricate structures really just built for their beauty, just to look at? Some people don't think so, including serious electrical engineers like Eric Dollard. Anyone who has studied antenna design sees a shocking similarity between some of the spires on these structures and antennas. It took us less than 200 years to go from absolutely no electricity to the entire world running off of electricity. Is it possible that somewhere in the past we have gotten to this point before and simply lost the technology due to war or catastrophe? Do these spires really look like Christian crosses to you, or are they more likely some sort of technology? They certainly do not look Christian.
Look, people, this antenna at the top has a wire following it all the way down the building, all the way down into the ground. It's because this antenna is harnessing the ether. The ether is the element that fills all space with infinite free energy. And all of the energy that this is producing is being grounded and sent straight into the ground. All of these buildings from the 17th to 1800s have these antennas, spikes on the top of them, because they are all doing the exact same thing. It was a complete different world. They've got rid of this technology because now they're capitalizing, making you a slave to work to pay the bills for something that is free. Look, here's another one. Antenna being grounded again on another building. We need to wake up and realise that there's free energy. Once we all realise this, the whole system goes down.
Free energy, you're cracking $1 trillion nut there.
Before I run out of daylight, I want to show you a true in-ground Earth battery. There are only 6 cells in this series versus the, I think, 16 or 18 that are on the tabletop demonstration. An example of a cell is, this is one that's not wired yet, it's just like a battery, positive, negative. The copper is the cathode, positive, zinc is the anode, negative. The dirt itself acts as the electrolyte that passes the free electrons and creates the voltage and the current. I have these 6 wired in a series, so it'll produce far fewer volts than the 16 or 18. This will be about 1.5 volts versus the 13 volts, 14 volts. This is about the same as a AA battery. So again, I'm doing this one-handed, so put that in there. Yep. So you saw about 1.6, 1.4, 1.5. It's about a steady 1.6. So these 6 in a series, again, it is just copper, zinc, and dirt, and the copper wire that connects it from positive, negative in a series. So this right here is one series, 1.5 volts. So if I kept going and wired up 15 more, I would again have about 13 to 14 volts, but the current is still only about 2 amps. So I could power a inverter. I need about 10 to 12 amps, but that's the plan. I'm going to have 5 or 6 parallel series to give me the current and the voltage needed to hook up to an inverter so that I can hook up to the house and power my TV, lights, whatever, you name it. It'll have the 12 volt direct current converted to 115 volt alternating current with the amperage, and we're going to see how many devices we can power at one time. So again, this is all it is. This is free energy. Literally just copper, zinc, and dirt, and some copper wire. Cheers.
Wow. Well, now we know what those antennas were likely hooked up to.
This guy right here sends some balloons up with a voltmeter way up in the air. Y'all watch this.
What's up, TikTok? So I'm doing an experiment that I've been wanting to do for a while, and it's measuring the ether or the voltage in the air. And I've got a setup and a little bit of light left. I wanted to show y'all what I've got going on here. So I got my multimeter. The red lead is hooked up to the ground wire. I got the ground rod over there. Black lead is hooked up to a 50-foot spool of 26 gauge magnet wire, and it is actually hooked up to a carbon fiber rod that I sanded down and got bare copper touching it, hooked up to some balloons. So I'm going to be measuring. I have the wire marked at every 10 feet, and so I'm going to measure the voltage at 10 feet, 20 feet, 30 feet, and 40 feet. So I'm going to document this, and I'll be posting the video in a few minutes. Okay, bye.
What's up, TikTok?
I currently have a set of balloons. I'm running out of daylight here, but I have a carbon rod hooked up to those balloons and the wire connected down to my multimeter, and it is grounded into my ground rod. I'm running out of daylight, but right now I'm about 30 feet in the air. I have the wire marked every 10 feet. I'm currently at 24, 27 volts, and I'll show you what happens when I start pulling it down. So right now, I have about 50 feet of wire that I can uncoil, but I'm not going to tonight. I'll do it when I have more daylight. But here's what happens when I start pulling it down. Now here it goes down. Now we're about 15 feet. Still about 10 feet. Further. So as I pull it down, it gets less voltage that is absorbing from the atmosphere. Got it back on. So now we're at roughly probably 6 feet above my head, and now we'll let the wire go, and you can watch it climb. The higher you go up, the more energy you get. Alright, anyway, I'll make another video tomorrow when I have more light, but that's what they mean when you're harvesting energy from the ether. The higher you go up, the more voltage you get. That's AC current, 21.5 volts.
Well, there's obviously no denying this.
So check out this video where a man attaches a copper wire and flies a drone up to about 115 meters and shows off the ether in action.
All right, I'm gonna stop at 115 and hold steady. All right, it didn't blow up yet.
Oh, by the way, meet the aerial film crew. I just thought this was a cool shot.
Oh yeah, I'm getting shocked right now.
This time I just used the electroscope as a quick voltage check.
Woo! Now that's a few thousand volts right there.
Alright, let's see if there's enough current to make this Franklin bell work. Oh, dude! Freaking working, buddy! Yeah! It's a really cool process. The aerial wire places a positive charge on this can, which then influences the foil ball to deliver electrons from the grounded can, which is directly connected to Earth. The clouds finally opened up, so I connected up the Coronal motor. Like before, one side was connected to ground, while the other was attached to the aerial wire. And after just a few seconds... Hey, she's spinning! This is just remarkable. It never really spun that fast, but I just sat and enjoyed the miracle. I mean, I quite literally was siphoning energy straight from the atmosphere. This motor was operating off of several kilovolts, which you could actually hear if you stopped the motor and brought your finger near the aerial wire. That's the sound of coronal discharge. Not long after, the wind started picking up, so we packed up.
Why do we see no wires on the pylons of the old world? Today our streets are filled with these pylons with wires, but the ancients seem to have no wires. In fact, they were harnessing free energy. Have you ever noticed the metal balls which are on all of the ancient buildings? We probably still have them now. These metal balls were filled with mercury, and on top of them was an antenna which was harnessing the electromagnetic energy. This energy was then sent to the mercury, and watch what happens with mercury. This would cause the mercury to spin and create free energy. The word cathedral comes from cathedral, anode and the cathode, because it's creating electricity. All of these buildings around the world all had the same antennas. This is because it was the great Tartarian Empire. Take a look for yourself.
can't really deny this.
And then you would start to see these antennas on top of a lot of the cathedrals that have spires. You know, they have these spires and these balls that are attached to them. And usually what that ball would be is that ball could be iron on the inside to hold the mercury, because mercury will eat things. It's a living substance. It's just like water. If you place things around mercury, like other materials other than iron, it'll actually eat it. It'll just grab it and take it up. So if you take, for example, you have a lightning rod, you have an iron core, you have mercury in the inside, and then you have brass on the outside, and there's any type of spin or vibration that takes place, such as a pipe organ or a bell, and that mercury begins to spin in that ball, you start to generate electricity. And I've actually tested it. I bought a vial of mercury, and I got a voltmeter. I spun the mercury, just like this, with my hand, nothing crazy, in front of the voltmeter, and I started getting voltage. So then I thought, okay, now you have an antenna, which is massive compared to my little hand, you know, and everything else. And if you had a large amount of this, and any spin that takes place, you could have free energy right off your roof, just based on using sound and just materials. And
this video is going to get removed probably.
What if there was a way to create power and heat without the use of fire? What if it had already been done and it's been hidden away from us? Many will say that's true. And people did find a way to harness the aether, even the fireplaces. Now, in the case of the fireplaces, we have these two little things in pretty much every picture that you might find. They were called fire dogs, and they were said to be just log holders so that the air would circulate better as the logs burned. But as you look at these, do you really believe these were strictly ornamental? Look at the tops. Is it possible that they used these to harness the aether from the atmosphere? One thing's for certain, our history is a mystery.
Yeah, more on the fireplaces coming up.
You don't need food, you need charging. There are many different ways you can charge the body, like grounding or standing next to trees. You are a biological battery. When you feel hungry, this is not hunger. It's your body getting rid of waste from the colon. It's important that you fast. After 48 hours of fasting, your body starts to produce stem cells to regenerate itself. Your body will start to eat itself and kill all the bad cells. The human body is an electromagnetic technological machine. Every cell in your body conducts electricity. You need electrical food that's grown under the electric sun because you are an electrical battery. The sun's electric power is crystallized within the food. You are a light being, a hue meaning light and a man meaning manifested. You are light manifested. This is real food. You need electric food to charge your electric body. You don't need dead flesh. This is why you get charged in a court, because you're an electric battery. And when you get charged, you sit in a cell, a battery cell. This field shows sickness before your physical body is actually sick. The strength of your field has a correlation with your health. Thoughts are electric, emotions are magnetic. You need positive thoughts and emotions to strengthen this field. If you want to learn more, this book will tell you everything. You don't.
Maybe that's why there was no washrooms in those buildings.
If you look at the heart, you discover that there's a bioelectric field that's coming out of the heart, extending 10, sometimes as much as 20 feet.
Do you feel like certain people, or everyone, has an energy field?
I mean, we know scientifically proven everyone has an energy field. Now, what I learned when I took classes at MIT for applied neuroscience, I learned something crazy. I knew about this field, but I didn't know that, let's say we're in the room together, right? Let's say you're stressed out and your cortisol levels are spiking. That cortisol, that hormone, is leaving out of your body, some of it, on your electromagnetic field and winding and interacting with my field, and your cortisol is coming into my body.
Damn.
So your anxiousness, your anxiety, your anger, your frustration could literally directly affect me by your hormones literally going down my field into my body and raising my levels.
Wow.
And making me feel down, depressed, angry, pissed off. But if you're in a high frequency, high vibration, the opposite can happen. And those hormones can come into my body and raise my vibration. So, when you say, when that person walks in the room, the room just lights up. That's actually a true statement. Some people have the power. They walking in their true power, high vibration, high frequency. You can walk into a room and you can take somebody who's low and bring them to a higher level.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. You can feel tension too. You can feel when people are angry.
What are all these holes?
I'm willing to bet that those holes were likely filled with crystal at one point. Probably quartz.
This method is way more efficient than solar. Over a century ago, Nikola Tesla was in mid-process of building a system called the Wardenclyffe Tower. This system was capable of harnessing what is known as radiant energy directly from the sky. This radiant energy is always being produced by the sun at all times, and at given frequencies that can be harnessed. Back in 2011, this patent was published to the Patent Office in the United States. It's called the electric pyramid generator. And you'll notice that it is not called a free energy generator, even though it should technically be called a free energy generator. And I'll tell you why. It's actually a electron harvester. So what it's doing is it's resonantly tuning in with the sun using this Tesla coil circuit. This is the primary to secondary. And this is a golden phi ratio structured copper plated pyramid. It's built out of wood. It's 6 feet tall, and the height is half of the base times the golden phi ratio. If you look at table 2, you will find a unique phenomenon using the 83 kilohertz frequency. Using only 300 milliwatts on the primary, you can get over 15 watts on the secondary coil if you have that pyramid in the higher atmosphere. So what I'm going to show all of you next is a potential method of harnessing electrons using...
Well, there's a lot to think about today. I've been sort of hesitant on putting this episode out. This is the kind of content that YouTube tends to remove. So I'm hoping that's not the case. I really hope a lot of you get to see it in case that does happen. But this is probably one of the more fascinating subjects out there, and we really haven't even gotten into it yet. So there'll be more on this coming up as we go. Like I said, I can only cram so much into 20-some minutes, right? So, but it's a good one today, and I want to know where you guys are at with this. So please drop a comment. Let's get into it. But that's all I got for you today, guys. So I guess I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully YouTube does not remove this one, but it is what it is if it happens, right? But anyways, until then, 80 Canadian, signing off.